inside the brain, you can actually see the amygdala activation.
Yeah.
So there is a study being done in NYU actually looking at brain changes that can be reversed by using the procedures that I do, or kind of stuff I came up with. So I think that what we're hoping to do with the book is talk about that trauma is real.
Yeah.
Mental trauma is definitely real. And then you can do something about it. So thus there should be hope. And when somebody says it's all in your head, whatever, it's like, well, it is in your brain, but it's actually a reversible condition. So you can have a real life.
Yeah.
The other thing is people don't talk about is the physiologic cost of mental health.
Yeah.
So it's well known that when somebody has PTSD, the chance of, but the reason I say PTSD just for simplicity's sake, I prefer PTSI. Anyway, somebody has PTSD, the chance of heart attacks is 2 times higher. So also the aging is sped up.
Yeah.
So we are actually about to submit a study that shows that when you treat PTSD successfully using stellate ganglion block or DSR, the more advanced version of it, it seems to reverse the DNA changes and be using epigenetic clocks. Our partners UCLA, so they're like the big cocoon in the space.
Yeah.
So I think you can really see the change. So if the point is there is a price to pay if your PTSD persists, early heart attack, right? Increased aging. The other thing is 85% of men have sexual dysfunction.
It's a big concern.
That's a big number, yeah. So the way I explain to the guys usually is if you're running from a tiger, then you don't want anything sticking out. And it's a kind of simple thing. It's like it's a visual.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because it doesn't help
Doesn't
a
help.
relationship when that part doesn't work and just it's part of life. In fact, we are also submitting another article. We were able to treat a number of couples from Fort Campbell, and what I look at as PTSD. So let's say a male has PTSD. It's not always male, of course. They can give it to the woman and the children. It's called secondary PTSD. So you have this. You can look at it as an infective agent. In fact, one of the chapters we're going to have was PTSD being mosquitoes.
Yeah, but that's what I love about your, the way that you go about is you're treating whole families. And I think part of your story, I'm a storyteller, I love story. And when I listened and I, was able to capture, what made you who you are. And I think generational trauma, secondary PTSD is so important. The people closest to us. No, just like if you get a stomach bug, it always passes through the family. You have it one day and then the wife comes down with it the next day and the kids. I mean, it's very similar this way. And then the generational aspects, I mean, that gets into epigenetics and all that.
Right.
But,
So you can actually, so my grandfather, he was abused in Russia, or was Ukraine at that time. Then he gave it to my father. So my father was involved in some really horrible stuff in World War II, fighting against the Nazis. And that passed on to me in genetics. So when a lot of people throw terminology, epigenetics, half the people don't know what they're saying. So I have a degree in genetics from
That's nice.
1980.
That's nice.
That's nice, but it's irrelevant because epigenetics as a study of science only came out 18 years ago.
Wow.
So it's
I didn't realize it was that recent, actually.
It's new. It's a whole new. It's a whole new science, exactly. But the whole concept that you can activate different genes without mutation is a big concept, and then you can give it a couple of generations. That's even crazier, right? So if you think about it from that perspective, so one of my I don't know who said that. Whoever said it was a brilliant individual. Nature loads the gun, and then environment or experience fires it. Yeah. So you may have predilection to have PTSD, but if you're in this very calm, peaceful environment, you're not going to have PTSD.
Yeah.
So, but you have a predilection. So I had a predilection to it, and I was certainly not living in a peaceful environment.
That is very true. Yeah.
So, and that's true for many, 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 many people. Yeah. You can of course use very high-tech terminology, but the whole concept, if you think about why would God make this? Physiologically. So let's say you are a caveman. 20,000 years ago, right? So now your family is being chased around by saber-toothed tigers. Not a good thing, right?
No.
So if that's the case, so now you're hiding in the cave. So you can't sleep, right? Because you need to be half awake or you're gonna eat.
You shouldn't be having sex.
Right. Well, also having children
Yeah, you don't want
to
to
takes a lot of energy,
you don't
right?
want to procreate.
So the equipment is not going to work so good,
Yeah.
right? And you're on pins and needles, right?
Yeah.
But that's PTSD,
yeah.
right? But then if your children are born into the same pride,
Yeah.
right next to it, you want the children also to be revved up like you.
Yeah. So, but you stay stuck in that state,
Correct. But there is a physiological way of reversing it. So I personally like DSR or stellar ganglion block because I came up with it. But there are other modalities, such as TMS, which is magnetic way of modulating the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Ketamine, a lot of times, is very helpful. Mushrooms, I think, is very helpful. Psilocybin. Some of the other ones I'm not a fan with, which we'll get into it. But there will be a chapter on that in the book.
Yes.
But I think there's going to be some very interesting chapters. And the idea, again, is to kind of bring neurosciences to the masses, so to speak.
That's the goal there. With storytelling and some interesting things. And again, that, as we said, the knowledge is power. If epigenetics, loads the gun, but if you understand what's happening, if you can take choices that are preventative or supportive, then it's going to be, a huge factor in the outcome and quality of your life.
Right. We're preventative, and also once you have the science of it, you should get treated.
Yes.
Right. So I'm a treater.
Yeah.
So, diagnosis is key. So one of the ways to do this is PCL, PTSD checklist, and it's available. If you put in PCL5 on the web, you can look at it. If you're over 45, you probably have at least some of the symptoms of that. And you don't want to ignore it at the point. And if your spouse has that or significant other has it, you don't want to ignore that, because you can have like a quiet desperation life, which is not a way to live.
Not at all.
We've seen it. It's like, and it leads to marital disharmony. It leads to early heart attacks. And the children are like walking around, like around my father. I had to walk around. It's like, well, because he's been through a lot, and he's tried coming to the United States was also very stressful for him. And I don't blame him for that, but it was not an easy way to navigate life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that early childhood is so important, and I think for any parent too, that awareness to say the environment that I'm creating for my child by my choices, my mood, my health.
Right.
Actually, we create the environment that our children grow up in. So the healthier you are, the more your child is growing up in an environment, because everything's being shaped in those early times. And so it's, I think even more important. And I think sometimes I think there's many of us that have a difficulty taking time to prioritize our own health. But when you look at children or family, sometimes you can do it for them.
It's not a good mirror, right?
You can do it for them first. You can say like, you know what, I got to get better. I got to do this.
But if you're healthy enough. So we've taken care of a lot of patients whose parents were schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And they got really screwed up from that.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard because there's no consistency.
Yeah.
Children need consistency and peace and quiet.
Yeah. That provides that safety, there.
Exactly.
What do you think is the thing that you're hoping the most that people learn or know? I know we've talked about a lot of things in the book, But...
I think hope is optimum, but
yeah.
Besides hope, I think if people, arguably I'm an educator, so I think if people understand their bodies in a very understandable fashion, because a lot of times if you read that, you start getting it, it's like, there's so much detail. And it's like, what's
feels
fascinating,
like a science class,
corpus callosum is like, why do I care about that part of the brain? Okay, connects to structure, but we don't care about that. So I think if people can take away a couple of things. One, that there's only a couple structures you need to know. Like amygdala, hippocampus, prefrontal cortex. I think if you got that, I think you're doing pretty good. And the interaction between them. And it's weird because in the modern age with scans, you can actually see what's happening in the brain. For example, Tetris game, which I play every day now.
I thought this was so interesting about Tetris.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So the way it actually came about is weird. I've never heard of it. So somebody calls me up and they're going, we need an expert on Tetris, how it helps PTSD in California. I was like,
and who's
never heard of it?
Yeah, self-proclaimed Tetris expert.
It was never me.
That's not me.
So they sent me a paper and they go, read that, do something with it. So I read about it. It's like, it's fascinating. So Tetris, obviously, has been game forever. So it turns out it activates hippocampus. Hippocampus is part of the brain that there's no test at the end of this, by the way. Hippocampus is part of the brain that improves memory. So that's where the memory lives. So, but also hippocampus suppresses the amygdala. Amygdala controls PTSD. See, getting all neuroscience. You're ready to be a neuroscientist. Anyway, so the stronger the hippocampus, the more you remember, and the more you can suppress the amygdala. So prefrontal cortex. Remember, I said there's only 3 structures you got to know. So PFC, prefrontal cortex, also can suppress amygdala. So the game you can play to activate prefrontal cortex and activate the hippocampus is Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers. Oh, all right.
Why? I don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, like, it's just how it is. But I mean,
so Tetris, Mario Brothers.
If you play those,
and you told me something about wasabi.
Well, wasabi. We'll talk about wasabi in a second. So, but wasabi, real wasabi.
Real wasabi.
Yeah, there was a study done in Japan, shockingly, that
what do you know?
Wasabi has some amazing biological processes which it repairs the brain and makes it grow back. So then I went on a quest to find the real wasabi in the United States.
Did you?
Maybe. I did find it. It took a year.
Oh,
so
wow.
I knew I was in trouble when I went to this.
So what's the difference in real and fake? Let's just get that clear first.
Well, if you look at,
takeout sushi. What are they serving us?
Hold on. So okay.
Good
question.
Calm it down.
Slow it down. No, so one of my friends owns a sushi restaurant.
That's a good friend. Yeah. I want a friend that owns a sushi restaurant.
He's Chinese. He charged me the same amount. Okay, maybe extra, actually. Anyway, so I said, hey, do you have wasabi? Oh, yeah, we have real wasabi. Absolutely. So he brings out this big-ass bag. And it says, not real wasabi, horseradish. Basically, what people do in the United States, they take horseradish, paint it green, and they call it wasabi.
It's like cheese products. Some yellow goo.
Yeah, something like that. Or Dominique.
Yeah.
It's not really diamond, but it's
really.
Dominique. Dominique. It's not the same thing. Yeah. Anyway, but what's interesting about wasabi, you need to grow it the right way. It has to be the right temperature. It needs to be cold, clear water, blah, blah, blah. So there's one place I found an amazing man in the United States who does grow it. It's in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So a 1 month supply is $80.
Wow.
It ain't cheap.
In 1 month. So we're talking how much you're eating a day.
It's just 2 capsules.
Oh, taking
2 capsules. Yeah. I'm not eating wasabi. That part was interesting. Real wasabi is not nearly as intense as horseradish. Really? Yeah, it's not nearly as intense.
Interesting.
Anyway, so the combination. I'm also into synergy. I'm trying to combine things. So if you combine Tetris and wasabi together, that seems to be a synergy between the two of them.
Eat wasabi, play Tetris.
Not at the same time, but somewhere in the neighborhood. But there's biological ways to improve it.
Are you good at Mario Brothers though? I want to know.
I haven't set it up yet. It'd be kind of hard on the phone.
I tried once, and I'm driving the car off the cliffs. I was like the last player.
We can play more.
I've never had an
interest.
You
look like Peach. Princess Peach. No.
I've never had interest in any gaming. I don't.
Nor have I really.
I have no capacity for it, and I'm terrible at it. But I don't want to. I don't want to.
But if it's but I got to tell you, when people make me wait now in line, or I sit in an airplane to fly, I turn on my Tetris. I'm playing my Tetris.
I can get behind.
Yeah, it's easy. The other one is a little more involved, I think.
Yeah.
But actually, we are submitting an article to American Psychiatric Station for next year about Mario Brothers and Tetris, because most clinicians never heard of it. Nor do they know the mechanistics, right? I mean, why does it work?
Yeah.
But if you understand why, I think it's better. But those kind of things, is having fun with neurosciences.
Yeah.
Once you understand those basic 3 structures, you can see if you can things that can calm down the amygdala.
Yeah.
Right. Prefrontal cortex. The other way you can grow it is do meditation. Yeah. So meditation will suppress the amygdala.
Yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
Now we know why it's
right.
working.
But it's been shown. This is all data. It's nothing. Not. It's a novel way of putting it together. And again, the idea behind the book is, I think part of it is to learn, part of it is to be entertained, part of it to understand how your body works.
A basic framework, because then everything else makes sense with that as a backdrop, a framework of understanding how it works. And and I think it's going to work to also improve the life quality of so many people. I mean, our brains are really the most important thing,
prolong their life.
Absolutely.
So the whole thing about health span versus lifespan.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So lifespan is how long you live, health span how long you healthy.
Yeah.
So the idea is to promote the health span.
Yeah. because you want quality of life. You don't want just a
You don't want
prolonged
to be invalid.
existence of suffering or sickness.
Yeah.
Quality of life. And we have science available now. We have so many preventative and supportive things that we can do. I think, why not? But I think what's great about listening to you is that you provide simple ways of thinking about things that sound complicated, have a way of injecting a little humor here and there, having fun while we do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good book, and we may actually have an amazing announcement later, which will dangle it out there.
Yeah, we'll dangle it.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We're making a sizzle.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we're making a sizzle reel.
A sizzle, if you know what
we'll
a sizzle is.
Sizzle.
Not bacon, but
definitely not bacon.
Definitely not bacon.
Yeah, definitely.
Different kind of sizzle. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hope it'll be a successful partnership for us.
Absolutely. At least the journey's been fun.
It won't be dull. We'll have nice pictures.
Never.
Well, thank you, my friend. Let me turn this off. Did I hit the right button? Probably not. Okay, leave. And session for all.